Representative Elise Stefanik raises more than Adam Schiff during House impeachment showdown. Hello and welcome to TST. If you're new to the channel, tap on the subscription button and press the notification bell so you can receive news and updates that you can rely on daily. Freshman Representative Elise Stefanik, a vocal defender of President Trump amid the impeachment fight, raked in a record fundraising haul during the fourth quarter of 2019. The New York Republican raised $3.2 million during the last 3 months of the year, according to Politico. That beats House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, the lead impeachment manager from California, who took in only $2.5 million during the same time frame. Stefanik has been branded a rising star in the Republican Party after she offered a spirited defense of President Trump during his impeachment by the House, the articles of which were supported exclusively by Democrats and one independent. Her fiery questioning of witnesses called by Democrats earned her praise from Trump's most high-profile allies. Take a watch.
Mr. Morrison, you were on that call, and there was no mention of withholding aid on the call, correct?
That is correct, Congresswoman.
And there was no quid pro quo, correct?
Correct.
No bribery?
Correct.
No extortion?
Correct.
And Ambassador Volker, I presume you got a readout of the call, is that correct?
Very terse readout, but yes.
In this tertiary readout of the call, Ambassador, from the U.S. participants, was there any reference to withholding aid?
No, there was not.
Any reference to bribery?
No, there was not.
Any reference to quid pro quo?
No, there was not.
Any reference to extortion?
No, there was not.
And I presume you also got feedback from your Ukrainian counterparts as to how the call went. Did they mention the withholding of aid?
No, they did not.
Did they mention any quid pro quo?
No, they did not.
And did they mention any bribery?
No, they did not.
And in fact, the day after the call, you met President Zelensky. This would be on July 26th.
That's correct.
And in that meeting, he made no mention of quid pro quo.
No.
He made no mention of withholding the aid.
No.
He made no mention of bribery.
No.
So the fact is the Ukrainians were not aware of this hold on aid. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And in the coming weeks, you were in touch with Ukrainians as part of your official duties. And this included talking to Ukrainians over the phone, in person, on text. And the Ukrainians never brought up an investigation into the Bidens. Is that correct?
That's correct.
They never brought up the withholding of the aid.
That's correct.
They never brought up quid pro quo or bribery.
Let me bring up the aid. They did bring that up after the Politico article appeared on the 29th.
I'm going to get to that. But until the Politico article,
then, no.
They did not bring it up. And you said in your closed-door deposition, quote, "It never came up in conversation with them, and I believe they had trust in me that they would have asked if that was really what they were worried about."
That's
Is that correct?
That is correct.
And as you pointed out, the Ukrainians never even knew their foreign aid was on pause until the article was published in Politico in August.
That's correct.
So they didn't know during the call.
That's correct.
Stefanik is one of several House Republicans the White House designated as official anti-impeachment messengers before the Senate trial. But she also spoke out in defense of the president during the House impeachment proceedings that began last fall. Take a watch.
And this was in the form of practice question answers. This was your deposition. And you testified that in this particular practice Q&A with the Obama State Department, it wasn't just generally about Burisma and corruption, it was specifically about Hunter Biden and Burisma. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And the exact quote testimony, Ambassador, is, quote, "The way the question was phrased in this model Q&A was, what can you tell us about Hunter Biden's being named to the board of Burisma?" So for the millions of Americans watching, President Obama's own State Department was so concerned about potential conflicts of interest from Hunter Biden's role at Burisma that they raised it themselves while prepping this wonderful ambassador nominee before her confirmation. And yet our Democratic colleagues and the chairman of this committee cry foul when we dare ask that same question that the Obama State Department was so concerned about. But we will continue asking it. And lastly, in my 20 seconds left, I just want to get it on record. In terms of defensive lethal aid, which you were an advocate for, that was not provided by President, it was provided by President Trump. I yield back 5 seconds.
Mr. Times, you're recognized.
Trump himself has praised Stefanik, who has routinely called Schiff a liar and rejected claims against Trump made by Democrats and his critics in the media. The president is expected to be acquitted of charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress in a vote scheduled for Wednesday. Adam Schiff's impeachment sham is over. Stefanik celebrated in a recent tweet. It was partisan, unconstitutional, unfair, and flawed from the very start. She added, Representative Stefanik to me is the symbol of women empowerment in the House Congress. She represents the class of women who would defend truth and justice from the evil grasps of coward loathers with strong and bold ground that is unwavering and unchallenged. She is a reflection of Lady Liberty herself. All hail Lady Stefanik. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And haven't you checked out the official TST store yet? It has a variety of Patriot-themed custom t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, phone cases, and tons more. Make sure to take a look. Maybe help us out by picking some products for yourself and your loved ones at great prices. It does make a huge difference to what we're doing here. Link in the description below. If you've liked this report, let us know by tapping that like button down below. Share the news among friends and family, and don't forget to